everyone. How are we all doing? Or rather, hey Debbie, how are you doing? And Robin, of course. How you doing, Robin?
Hi, great.
Good.
Big year for me.
I know. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm trying to figure out if maybe somebody can tell me later. Am I in my second childhood or my third childhood? I'm not sure when it goes from second to third. We'll
What
find
does
out.
that mean? I don't know what that means.
Oh, they say that, you act like a kid until you grow up. And then at some point when you get older, you go into a second childhood where you act like a kid again. But I think I might even be on my third childhood by now. So I don't know what ages those things change at.
Right. Okay. Well, happy birthday. Do you want to tell everybody? Well, first of all, hey guys, I can see that we've got Gerald and we've got Debbie in the chat, so hi to you guys. We are here today to do a roundtable reading. Our lovely Robin has graciously agreed to come on, and we're going to do a year ahead spread for him. So if you remember, this is what we did for Marvin from Mystic Marvin. And yeah, we're all going to get a chance to read Robin's cards, read cards for the card curmudgeon himself. So how honoured are we? We've also got Emmy here and Justin. So hey to you guys as well. So yeah, just to kind of quickly explain how this is going to work, guys. For anyone who's not seen a roundtable reading before, we're going to do a full spread for Robin. I'm going to turn my table camera on. We're all going to see the cards as they get laid out, and card by card, we're all going to read the card for him. So I'll interpret it. Robin will tell us what he thinks about it, and then everyone in the chat will have a chance to kind of give us their thoughts and stuff. So hoping we'll have a nice lively chat, and we'll have lots of between all of us, we'll be able to give Robin a really good tarot reading for his year ahead. Particularly because it's his birthday today. And yeah, I think it would just be really nice. So, Robin, I always like to start off these things by giving my guest a chance to introduce themselves and tell us a bit about themselves and all that. But well, I'll still ask you to do that. But I think we all know our good old Robin Bennett, don't we? So, I know that you've got some exciting news that you want to share with us.
Sure.
So do you?
Yeah, I think most of the people attending here will know me. I'm Robin Crutchfield. You can Google me online or look in Wikipedia. There's a lot of info there about my whole history, which I don't usually get into on TarotTube. But I do have a channel that you probably all know, Toadstool Tarot. And I'm sort of known as the resident card curmudgeon. Everybody knows that I'm very fussy and a bitcher and complainer, but I'm not really, hopefully not in a nasty way. I hope nobody takes me too seriously. I just like a good bit of silliness. I think we're all a little too serious most of the time about tarot and other things. So I tend to be a little sillier more in chat than I am interviewed or online, I guess. But the only thing I was going to say is I have a little bit of an announcement. I got really inspired last weekend, or I guess it was 2 weekends ago, and I created 2 new tarot decks, and they're both majors only decks, which I'm really getting into more and more lately. And one is for beginners, and that one just arrived in the mail today. It's called the Word Tarot Oracle. This is for anybody who's just picking up a deck for the first time and they don't know how to read. And it's just a simple keyword for each of the 22 cards. So for the Fool, I picked the word adventure. And I won't take all the time here showing all the 22 words, but at some point soon, I will do a walkthrough because I want to get a little feedback on the keywords to know if I should change any. Like, I think 3 of them I actually kept the same as their actual names in the majors, and all the others I turned into keywords that could be read a couple different ways depending on how you interpret the word. But this basically is for people that are beginners. Maybe they don't care as much about the image as wanting to be able to use cards right away out of the box. And I believe you can with these. The second deck is a majors only, what I guess is referred to as a non-representational tarot deck. It's all illustrations in bright pop colors on a black background of mushrooms and toadstools. So you don't really, I mean, some of them I manipulated in a way that you might be able to like intuit a little visual relating to the card from the shape or direction of the mushroom or whatever design, but they're not really, they don't look like the Fool, the High Priestess or whatever. They're just toadstools, you know, but it's going to be hopefully my signature deck for my channel, and I'm kind of excited about that. It hasn't arrived yet. So, yeah. And I think,
seeing it when it appears on your channel.
Gerald asked earlier how old I was, and I'm 70, and I'm hoping we're going to get into that a little bit with the numbers a little bit later. So,
yeah. So, I mean, we're going to have a wee chat about the numbers, aren't we? Because there's the number 7 appears a fair bit. So, but what did I want to ask you first? I wanted to ask you if you've had a good day. What have you done for your birthday so far? Like, have you had a good day?
It's so silly. Talk about silly in second and third childhood. Well, first of all, I had to get business out of the way. I called Social Security. I had an interview with Social Security online on the phone this morning, so they could set me up to get my payments. And that went really, really well, really easy. I was thrilled, you know. Then, of course, since my income's going to go up, since I'm getting money in from Social Security, it will affect my Medicare and my Medicaid health plans. So I try to get on the phone to them, and they're like city, state, local people, and it was a kind of a mess. So they basically said I had to wait until my first payment arrives, which will be in October, and then send them verification of the increase of money, and then it will affect what I'm paying for my medical. But that was the down part of the day. The up part was I'm actually going to make more money than I thought I was going to get. They projected a certain amount, and I'm making more, which is a great sign. And then I met my senior writing class for lunch today at this restaurant I found. It's an Italian restaurant that has swings for seats at the table. And I've been dying to, I wrote a piece about, I'm so old now. What I miss from my childhood is I can't ride on a swing anymore, because if you go to the park and go to the kids' playground, they'll throw you out for riding on a child's swing, you know. But I've been wanting to do that for years, you know, and I was walking by this place on McDougal Street, this pasta place, and it looked really inviting. They have homemade pasta and everything, fresh made. Yeah. And in there, they have the tables, and one side of the tables are these swing seats on ropes, you know, and I thought, I have to go there just for the swings. So you should have seen this sight of like 70-year-old plus old swingers at a table having lunch together. We had a great time. And so the third thing of the day is me here with you having this fun reading. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Good. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to it as well. Yeah, numbers. So today's your 70th birthday. Obviously that reduces down to 7. You had pointed out that we're going into next year will be 2023, which again another 7. But I've done the maths on your actual birth card. So 8th of September 1952. And I think the Chariot is your birth card as well. So the Chariot is quite prominent for you just now. So what do you take from that? Tell us what you think that means for you.
I guess it's either I get my wheels rolling or I'm just spinning my wheels and going nowhere.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Chariot. It depends on how much control you've got over the different aspects of your life. I guess that for me, that's what a big part of it is about. Do you know what I mean?
It feels a great deal to me like movement, like this coming year is going to be my year of movement. But I'm really curious to see how, if at all, that's reflected in your spread today, particularly from the cards of January on, because that will be into the number 7 year. At this point,
Yeah.
up till then, we're still in the number 6 year, which is the lovers, right? Yeah. I'm not sure what that means for me. So,
well, the way that I do this, Robin, is I don't go month. So this won't be like September, October, November, December. We'll start on Virgo. Do you know what I mean? We'll do it by. It doesn't really make that much a difference. It's essentially just for the sake of looking at a time period, but also like if we want to, if we so feel like the different horoscopes are significant for different areas of our lives. So Virgo is all about our work. It's our daily patterns, our habits. Do you know what I mean? So if we want to kind of look at that layer of the spread, then we can, whereas we can't really do that if we do it January, February, March, April. So that's why I like to do it that way. But I mean, we can essentially just ignore all the horoscope stuff and say, right, okay, this is for the whatever it is. It's usually 18, 19, 20 is when the changeover of the horoscope happens, isn't it? So Virgo, let me actually find it. Virgo runs from, is it the 27th of July? No, I'm talking rubbish.
August.
23rd of August up to the 22nd of September. So that will be the first time period that we'll be looking at. So it's essentially going to give us a look at where you are just now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel as though I'm getting ahead of myself. Something I was going to say when we were talking about numbers, it'll be interesting to see when we've laid them all out, what do they all add up to? You know, you can kind of total all the cards and reduce them down. If that reduces down to a 7, then I'm just saying that's going to make me really happy. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, what I want to do just now, if it's okay, we're good for time. We're only at 9:15. I'm going to quickly run down the people that are here and just say hello to everyone, and then we can get started.
Sure.
So we've got Debbie from Aquarius Owls here. Hi, Debbie. How are you doing? We've got our lovely Gerald from Tarot Stash. We've got Emmy the Grey. We've got Justin Michael. Laurie Kramer. Fox with a Book. We've got the lovely Donna. We've got Danielle from Three of Cups Eclectic. Let's see, Kristen Louise is here. Hi, Kristen. Donna says, my dual birth cards are the Chariot and the Tower, so I guess I'm crashing my Chariot into the Tower. Yeah. Or you're riding your Chariot off of the Tower. Alex from Lazy Genius is here. Hi, Alex. How you doing? Let's see if I missed anyone. No, I don't think I have. Welcome, everyone. Right, we always start off our roundtable readings with a soul card. I am going to change to this, and I'm also going to make my screen a bit bigger. So we're essentially the same size, but everything's focused on the cards. I know it's the lighting.
So we're essentially the same size, but
Oh, I can hear myself speaking.
No, that was me. Sorry, I opened my YouTube window so I could maybe see bigger.
Right, okay.
Oh, I can't do that full screen because then I can't. It's not in real time. Well, oops.
I think, do you have see on StreamYard, see down at the bottom right-hand corner, do you have like a wee thing where you can expand it?
Oh, yeah.
So you could do that. I don't know whether you'd be able to see the chat or anything.
No, I can't, but that's okay. You're going to take care of that, I think.
Yeah. Lots of people saying happy birthday to you, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Whoops. Right, okay. That's a nice card. Let me hold it up. Or rather, will I just zoom in? Why go to the effort of holding up a card when you can do this?
Oh, I see now.
So we've got someone who, it almost looks like a Hermit card, doesn't it? A Hermit slash maybe Ace of Wands-y feel to it. Or maybe like a King of Wands, actually. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, so the Soul card is basically like a kind of we generally use it to summarize the entire reading. So it usually gives us an overall feel for what we're looking at. Normally we've got a question that we apply it to, and we start saying, right, okay, well, in context to that question, this is what I see. With Robin, we're kind of doing a year ahead, so it's a wee bit different. We don't have like a question to context it against. But I feel quite excited looking at this. I think it's a lovely wee card. It's a nice card. It doesn't give me any negative feelings, and it feels like this guy's holding his creativity in the palm of his hand, and he's looking forward. Do you see how he's not like looking kind of a down, or he's got a kind of a quiet confidence about him, and it's as if he's looking forward to the year ahead, to what's to come. And you can even see like the warm colours kind of being reflected on his face. I wonder if I do this a wee bit, maybe a wee bit better actually. But yeah, I'm quite excited for your year ahead. Just kind of looking at this card, taking this card as a summary. Robin, what do you think about it?
I see so much in here. I like this card. It could just be a reflection, but I saw a ginger-haired guy. You know, it could just be a reflection. And I wasn't sure. My first impression is he's holding a flame, but I'm not. And maybe it isn't a flame. Maybe it's like a turnip or a plant or something. But the impression was a flame. And what I really identify with is, you know, my significator card is the Three of Wands. And this feels so Three of Wandsy to me, because you see the left arm, which I'm left-handed, by the way, crossing his chest and like holding dear to him something. He's holding something within, and then he's holding, if it's flame, passion, sort of almost halfway at arm's length, not like way out front, but it's sort of like, oh yeah, this is out front of me, and am I ready to go there or beyond this, or am I ready to, you know, move forward with my passion, which is the Three of Wands for me. And yet there's that hand over the chest, kind of almost holding him back. So it is that three position where it's like, you know, I've made it this far now. Am I ready to take the next step, or should I wait here a little longer?
Yeah, absolutely. It almost kind of looks like a bulb, doesn't it?
A what?
Like a bulb, a plant of a bulb of a plant.
Yeah. Which also, like, if it's that, then it's like potential for growth too. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's that sort of like next step, what's going to happen next. So I like that.
Yeah, that is, it's nice. And it's quite fitting. You've just created two tarot. You are a very creative person. You've just created two new tarot decks. And I suppose you are in a bit of a kind of a, you know, you've created as this brand new thing, and you're just waiting to see what comes of it. So it's a nice wee card to get us started off. I feel good about it. I'm wondering what everyone else thinks. So let me see. We're talking about cards and, you know, personality cards, soul cards, shadow cards and stuff. Justin, I think for the constellation of the Chariot, I think of Helios, which is on the Tower card of the Renaissance Tarot by Brian Williams. Right, cool. I like that. Right, here we go. So Donna says, I like that card. It gives me Hermit vibes or the King of Wands. And then says Jinx. Alex has got dual birth cards too, Hanged Man and Empress. this Emmy says this card rather resembles Robin.
Mm.
Patrice is here. Hi, Patrice. Just finished creating my tarot deck using soul cards. I love it. This is my King of Wands and my soul cards tarot deck. Creative fire for our dear Robin for the year ahead. Debbie says lefties rule. Donna says you're offering your wisdom to the world as well as your passion. Okie dokes. So that's that. I actually feel really good about that. Sometimes a soul card comes up, and well, sometimes they feel quite negative. Do you know what I mean? Some of the soul cards do, like, they feel quite, oh, I don't know about this, or they feel some of them can be quite harrowing. But this one feels warm. I'm excited about what's coming ahead.
You know, I've noticed in the soul cards you've shared in the past, they seem more like cosmic or bigger. This one has an intimacy about it and a warmth that I'm surprised at. I didn't even know this was in that deck. And I also like the light and shadow aspect of it. You know, it's kind of like somebody in a dark room, sort of like finding their light, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, it kind of could look like smoke as well, couldn't it? Smoke from the flame.
Yeah.
Justin's got to get back to work. See you later, Justin. Thanks for popping in. Let's see. Emmy says you're selective about how you choose to apply your energy. Okay. Shall we kick off with our tarot reading then?
Sure.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom this back out because we're going to need plenty of room. Oh, no, that's the light I'm changing, not the zoom. Let's see. Do you think it was my first time doing this? Right.
It's the dark.
Okay. So I'm using a Rider-Waite-Smith for anyone that's wondering what deck I'm using. I was just in a Rider-Waite-Smith mood. And I've been using this deck a lot lately. It's this one, it's the Bri or whatever you call it, one with these backgrounds. So
it's a coincidence that you picked that deck because I was going to request it just to make it easier on the eyes of the people in chat. So because everybody knows this deck and they'll know right away what card they're looking at and what the symbols in it are.
That's kind of what I was thinking. So we're looking at Robin's year ahead. Okay, let's kick off then. So as we said, the first kind of the first time period, I guess, is Virgo. And I've got my cheat sheet here that's telling me what the time periods are because I don't remember them off by heart, unfortunately. So as I said, Virgo runs from the 23rd of August up until the 22nd of September. For anyone who likes to who wants to know about what the horoscope meaning is, Virgo generally tends to talk about our day-to-day activities, our habits, our work, just the kind of the routine stuff in our lives. We're starting off with a difficult card, Robin. We've got the 5 of Pentacles to start off with. Okay. So, I mean, it's an interesting one to kick off with, and I hope the cards they're not going to let me down, and they're going to be able to behave themselves a wee bit more for the rest of the reading. But
Chris,
that shows that
I gotta stop you. You're going to be really upset with me, but you know, I said before behind the scenes that I might follow along and draw cards from my own deck, the Open Base Tarot, just for me personally to get a shadow or a comparison to the card you pulled. Look at the first card I pulled, the Chariot.
Oh, good for you.
So, I mean, I just had to mention that because we've already talked about number 7. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
'cause we're
Go
missing
ahead.
it. That's okay.
It
That's
was
all right.
a coincidence.
Yeah, yeah, it is because we were saying we were wondering if they're all going to add up to 7. So yeah, so that's interesting. So we've got the 5 of Pentacles, but we've also got the Chariot to think about. Okay. I mean, with the Chariot, we think about progression. We think about moving forward. Here, the people in the card aren't really moving forward very quickly, are they? So that suggests that you're maybe currently feeling a wee bit delayed in your progression, but like just kind of bringing it back to this, you're hoping that going forward, that's going to, that's going to catalyze. There's something that's going to speed that up, and that's maybe what we're hoping for the year ahead, and hopefully we're going to kind of see that as the spread progresses. But it suggests that where you are just now, it's maybe a wee bit more difficult of a place than what you would like to be. I mean, considering what you were telling us about your stuff this morning, it's, I mean, things. You certainly had a good morning for and the Pentacle side of things, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, what do you think about that?
I think it's good, and I got the same idea the minute you said it when I drew the Chariot, that, oh, this one's about movement too in a way, but it's sort of like impacted or slower movement. So it only makes sense that the beginning of the year or the beginning of the wheel would start off. We wouldn't be, well, we could be diving or charging into the year, but I sort of like the idea that we're progressing slowly at the start, which almost only leaves room to pick up speed. So,
Yeah.
And there's also the idea that these are perhaps elderly, infirmed people. And, here I am 70 and I have my health issues and so forth,
Yeah. I don't think of you as being elderly or infirmed, Robin. I have to say those aren't those two words aren't words that come to mind when I think about you.
Well, and there's also the window that we haven't looked at with this idea of, illumination from within, but also, moving forward in order to have some enlightenment about what's happening or what's taking place.
Yeah. I've turned on the ticker here just because I saw that Kristen had come in and says, "What's Robin's question?" So I'm going to have that going along the bottom just so that people know what we're reading for. Let's see, what do we think? It almost looks like the Soul card figure is lighting the way for the figures and the 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, absolutely. Do you see how in the Soul card though the smoke's traveling backwards and kind of a gathering behind them? So I can't pick up the card because I've no nails. So yeah, the way that this looks is like he's kind of he's got his flame there that he's all proud of, but it's kind of the smokes. But this reminds me. So I was at a gig last Saturday, and when we were standing in the queue to get in, the guy in front of me was vaping, and the smoke from his vape was blowing right back onto me. And I was doing my nutting because I'm not really a big fan of the smell of it. It's too sweet for me. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, that just made me think of that.
I didn't see the smoke when you originally mentioned it, and it got me thinking of smoke the same way I react to clouds in the Lenormand deck, that there maybe is some obscuring quality to the illumination. But I like, you give me something to think about when you say the smoke is moving behind him. That's sort of like passing through a period of obscurity towards the illumination or the light.
Yeah, definitely. Patrice, the 5 of Pentacles makes me think of how Robin has his own unique style, not walking the popular, well-trodden path.
I just thought of something else. I'm sorry I keep jumping in like this.
That's fine. That's the whole idea.
Obviously, why didn't anybody mention this yet or see it? My last name is Crutchfield, and we have a figure here on crutches in the very first card, you know?
That's true. Seeking assistance from others, not being so stubborn or prideful, says Kristen. Laurie says they're also moving. If you read directions, are they moving forwards? To the right usually is, I think. Normally I look at moving to the right as moving forward, yeah. Gerald says, I also see the Five of Pentacles as the ability to live a life outside of what others expect. I agree, the Soul card does look like he's lighting the way for the life outside of society. And Emmy says the weather will be cooling off and the snow. We have a similar vision of Robin, Gerald says, Patrice. Okay, so that's where we are just now. Let's start looking at what we've got coming up. So after Virgo, I believe it's Libra. And the dates that we're talking about are 23rd of September up to the 22nd of October. Okay. And Libra, I think, actually, when we look at it in a spread like this, it's looking at relationships, how we interact with others. We've got the Queen of Wands showing up. So we said this looks like the King of Wands, and we've got the Queen of Wands showing up. Interesting, actually, because, and I know it's probably because we'd mentioned it at the start. I'm going to try and not totally latch onto it and make it dominate the reading, but because you'd mentioned your new decks, when I'm seeing things, it's making me think of it. So, you know, they're not out there yet. You've just got your first copy of one of them, and you're waiting for your copy of the second one. So we're still in this stage where no one's really. It's kind of a out of the public light. You know, these two are kind of might be viewed as outcasts. And it's a similar way. It's like the decks haven't been born yet, as far as you know them being out in the public domain is concerned. We start to see that changing with the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands for me is the total opposite from the kind of outcast situation. The Queen of Wands for me has always been the celebrity of the tarot. She's the person that everyone's drawn towards. Really warm personality, very charismatic, and just has an ability to charm people quite easily. So I kind of see that in terms of, you know, where your creative endeavors are going. But I mean, if we're just looking at this for you in general, it suggests that the kind of a Libra season for you is looking quite sociable. It's looking like you're, you know, you're drawing quite a lot of attention, like positive attention. So what are you thinking, Robin?
Oh my God, so much stuff. Well, I think that the social aspect of it sounds good. I was thinking about my relationship with Libra people, and it's not very good usually. I'm at odds quite often with other Libra people. But of course it's like the scales. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not great. You know, so that's the kind of relationship I have with Librans, and I don't know if that's typical with all the people they encounter, or if it's just my relationship with them. But I wasn't really thinking so much in terms. You seem to be framing this reading around these two decks coming out, which is great. That wasn't on my mind, but maybe it's a shadow aspect that should be. I'm looking at the symbols on the cards, and the sunflower is like, you know, a flower opening, the light of the sun, something arriving, which could be these decks. The cat seems like a dark figure that's sort of playful, like cats are playful and unpredictable. Both the decks I've designed are very different in terms of gameplay and in terms of tarot or how they approach tarot. And then also I'm looking at the the wand, and I actually like the Queen of Wand card quite well. The wand makes me think the wand is very phallic, obviously, and the phallic imagery also relates very much to toadstools and mushrooms. And here, one of the decks that's coming out is a Toadstool Tarot. So there are elements in this card and the symbolism that relate to all that I just spewed at you. I mean, and that throne behind her, the shape of it could be a big card looming up behind her. So yeah, maybe this does relate to these two decks. And obviously, after just a little over 3 years of my channels seem to sort of build like a snowball and an avalanche. You know, it's like over time you get to meet and know more people. You're more active with a wider audience. So I think that's just a kind of a natural progression that's moving forward. And I'll stop there.
Don't feel like you need to stop yourself. If we're running out of time, then I'll give you a nod. But we're fine. We're doing good. What does everyone else think? Let's see. Let's see. We saw that similar vision of Robin, Gerald said. Patrice, we saw that. Right. Donna says, so that would mean the figure on crutches is Robin's former self being led forward by his higher, more enlightened self. Cool. Kristen says, I like that reading of the card, living outside of institutions, hobbling to the beat of your own drum.
Chris, you tell me if I'm doing too much with this. I wasn't going to do this. I promised you I wouldn't. But when they correspond, I feel like maybe I should. Who was it that just said about your higher self? Somebody just...
I think it was Donna.
So I thought, well, I didn't pull my second card. My second card is the High Priestess. So I think that kind of connects in with both the Queen and what she just said about the higher self.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Donna says, oh yeah, the smoke means he can't see his decks yet. Kristen says, that's my new cat, Bjorn, and the Queen of Wands. What do you think of the cat and the Queen of Wands, Robin?
I've never much known what to make of it. It always sort of felt irrelevant to me, other than I guess she's a cat person. But we do see the presence of the lions around her throne, which relates to the cat. And if you look at lions versus cats or kittens, they sort of seem like the opposite extremes of power versus playfulness, or power versus lack of power. I'm not sure, but they don't seem like they're quite in the same realm of authority. So maybe the Queen of Wands exhibiting her authority is sometimes she can be like, as forceful as a lion. Sometimes she can be as quiet as a cat, but there may always be this element of mystery or playfulness or mischievousness there. Yeah.
I've always seen the cat as a familiar. A familiar, which is like a guide, a protector and a guide. Typically talk about familiars in connection with witches. And I think traditionally they're kind of seen as guides and protectors and companions. But it's just interesting that we've got this kind of the smoky, shadowy, darker energy in this card. We kind of the Five of Pence has a certain kind of a darkness about it, a certain negativity about it. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden we've got this bright, shining Queen of Wands, but we have that dark energy all coming together in the form of the cat. And it's like, it makes me think, there might be something around about you right now that might feel negative. It might not. You might feel like uncomfortable with it. You might feel, I don't know what to make of this. But in actual fact, in the next month or two, it seems to be coming. It seems to be forming into something that's actually working for you, into a guide, a companion, a protector, that kind of a thing. And as a like an example, right? I'm thinking about things like you know how if we get like constructive criticism. I don't know how you feel about that, right? But when someone criticizes me, my initial reaction is to be like, how dare you say anything negative to me? But once I sit with it, it actually becomes like almost like my best friend. You know what I mean? It makes me better. You know,
I'm actually
that's an example of the kind of thing that I mean. And I just thought it was an interesting aspect of the card.
I'm actually the opposite of that. I crave criticism and critique because I learn from it. Now, I don't like somebody to simply say you're a piece of crap, you know, but I mean, if they feel that way, I want to know why, you know, and then I can do something with that information. But if it's just nastiness and unpleasantness, it's not helpful. But if there's something they really hate or really rubs them the wrong way, and I find out what it is, that gives me something to work with. I was going to ask, though, about the relationship, since you mentioned the cat as a familiar. I'm thinking about the wand. So just story-wise, is she drawing energy from the cat through this magic wand to manifest something? Or is it more likely she's queen of the house, and when the cat gets on her nerves, she might chase it off with her stick?
I mean, it's the wand suit is fire energy, isn't it? And we tend to associate cats, maybe more particularly lions and tigers, but cats in general with fire energy. You know, think of Leo. You know, think of like well, I'm thinking of the Mariel deck, which uses lions and cats, big cats, a hell of a lot for the fire element. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it kind of fits in that way, but also from I mean, I was talking about, I see the Queen of Wands as being this kind of a energy that draws everyone in, that draws people in, kind of a warm, inviting energy. So I suppose the fact that the cat's kind of even the cat's sticking by her, even the cat wants to be by her, and cats don't normally like anyone. So yeah, I suppose for me, that's how I see it as being relevant. But I don't think that's. I think that it might be different for different people.
Something else that just popped into my head, because I never thought of that cat as a familiar until you brought it up today. There is a wonderful movie, if none of you have seen it. It's sort of a Christmas movie called Bell, Book, and Candle. And I recommend it if you haven't seen it. It's with Kim Novak and Jimmy Stewart, among many others. But it's basically about this woman who's a witch in Greenwich Village, which, by the way, is where I happen to live. And she has a cat as a familiar. So I think it's funny that you said familiar, and that made me think of that movie, which brings Greenwich Village into the whole picture of the year and what's going on with me, because I'm a resident of Greenwich Village. And some might say, as a deck creator or a tarot tube video person, that I'm a you know, I make magic, let's say, you know.
Cool. Let me quickly run through the comments. So Patrice says, Robin, Vernetta is a Libra and you will love her when we meet one day. My friend Robbie is here. Robbie says we do love phallic imagery in our cards. Joe's here, says hi everyone. Danielle says, oops, silly backup button on my
phone, probably.
On my phone is right by the send button. It does suggest good relations for Libra. If you tie in the decks coming out, I see good feedback from others. Sorry, I really struggled with that comment there, and I don't know why. There was nothing wrong with it. Queen of Wands suggests mastering your inspiration and sharing it with others. Debbie says, saw something today that said that that cat's name is Snuffles. I love that soul card. The offering of fire. The folks on the Five of Pence are walking towards the Queen and the dude with the fire. She has domesticated the energy of the cat, says Kristen. Joe says the Queen of Wands superpower is intuitive intuition. I see her cat as a familiar and how she can tap into other realms at whim. In my opinion, a lot more powerful than the king. I think all of the queens are a lot more powerful than the kings, to be totally honest with you. It's like chess. They've just got so much more reach because they're people. KS, good evening to you, and welcome. The yellows and oranges make me think of the lower chakras. Cats are independent in nature. Also, black cats have superstitious misbeliefs, in my opinion. The Queen of Wands doesn't care or follow such beliefs, and that I suppose ties back into what we were saying about kind of a dancing to the beat of your own drum. If the cat is a familiar, is the Queen a witch? Asks Kristen. Maybe, potentially. The cat is clearly loyal to the Queen of Wands. She infuses the cat with her energy and sends it to do her bidding, says Donna. Our lovely Deanne from Blue Crescent Tarot is here. Hi, Deanne. Been lurking a bit. Happy birthday, Robin, she says.
You made me think of something else, sorry, about the Queen of Wands and this cat relationship. I remember, I think it might have been in the interview Justin Michael did with Rachel Pollack, that on one of her earliest lectures, there was a cat wandering about the room and ended up sort of coming up and sitting on her lap or in her chair or something, but identified with her, connected with her, which I thought might be an interesting story to interject here.
No, it is, and it's funny because I heard that story recently because I've been watching some Rachel videos. It was in the 70s, and she was teaching a class on tarot, and it was the hippie days when they all sat on the floor, and it was when she was talking about this card, the Queen of Wands. This cat came and sat in her lap, and she was just kind of stroking it. And then as soon as she reached to put the Queen of Wands away and put the King of Wands on the table, the cat jumped away. And when she talked to the people that owned the place, they were like, "What do you mean a cat?" And she was like, "A black cat came and sat on my lap." And they were like, "God, that cat's feral. It's one of the cats that comes into the kitchen." So no, it's a really cool story, and it's one that makes me think that this card always makes me think of.
Oh, I think she said she pulled the Queen of Wands when that happened. I believe that was the connection with that.
Right.
I just thought of something else. I'm sorry, I'm free associating, and all this stuff is like flying into my head. And this is a little bit of an aside, but I didn't mention it to you before we went on. And it could be false, but before I went on, I was Googling things, and it mentioned that Queen Elizabeth has passed. And if that's true, I'm really sorry for your fellow countrymen, and I'm with you on that. But this queen just made me think of that too.
Yeah. In all honesty, I neglected to say anything about it at the start, but yeah, that's true. So our queen died earlier on this evening, and it's funny because like in the UK and I suppose all over, people range in their from royalists to anti-royalists, anti-monarchists. But I think something that probably everyone can agree on is she worked her wee socks off. So she did. She was a hard worker. She loved her country and she did a lot for us. And yeah, it is a kind of a sad day. So it is. And yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about what's to come, but yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for mentioning that.
Although I don't know if she had any cats. She was a dog person, wasn't she?
Yeah, she had corgis. She had 3 corgis, I think. As far as I'm aware, they didn't have cats. Okay, Going to move on to the next card. So this is Scorpio. The dates runs from the 13th of October. No, the 23rd of October. I'm rubbish at this. The 23rd of October up until the 22nd of November. Scorpio is basically the stuff that's dark and that we don't like to talk about, which can be different for different people. But generally, it's things like sex, death, taxes. See the stuff that we're like, oh, that's private. I need to keep that to myself. That's what Scorpio is all about. Now, like I say, we're looking at kind of at the end of October up to the end of November. You've got the Fool card, okay? So that would suggest to me, I suppose looking at it normally, I would look at that and think, right, okay, well, there's a big change coming for you, maybe in about 2 or 3 months' time. You know, some sort of new sense of, well, the whole direction has changed because everyone, even the Queen, is kind of a looking off to the right.
Yeah.
But the Fool, because the Fool exists in a kind of a different plane of existence, it's the world of potential that the Fool comes from, and comes into the actual, you know, the world of reality, which is why the sun's white. He's going to the left, but I don't get a sense that the Fool's going backwards. I very much see this as a card that's still about going forwards. It's a card that I'm excited about, and the one card that you showed us from your deck was your keyword for the Fool. And what was that, Robin?
Um,
Your new deck.
Adventure.
Yeah. So feeling quite good about that. What about you? What do you think?
Well, the first thing that jumped out at me when I saw it was change in direction. I mean, like you, we all know the Fool is sort of the beginning of the journey, and it's hopeful. But this almost gives me pause, like a reluctance or a change in direction or turning back, or the whole thing about 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like maybe there's a time during Scorpio, I'm not sure how it relates to Scorpio, this idea that maybe you should be a little bit more cautious, or maybe slow down a little bit, or reconsider things before whatever the next step is. Now,
Yeah.
I pulled in this one the Empress, which is sort of birthing. So we're getting a little bit of a mixed message there, because it's like, oh, maybe changing direction or slowing down or reconsidering. But like you said, there's still this notion of moving forward. And my Empress card is moving forward, but also she's giving birth to something which will be the future. So I'm not quite sure how to do that. I read that in my own deck. In this deck, my Fool is going the other direction, moving forward. And this one is going what we view as the past, going backwards in a way. So I'm not quite sure what to make of all those elements. They give me pause, like this card gives me a pause.
Yeah. I've always seeing your deck, Robin, I've always seen, you know how there's something shown in the Empress's stomach. I've always thought that looked like a seed. And a seed makes me think of the Fool card, actually. It's like there's potential within her, and there's potential. The Fool is potential. It's the ultimate potential. That's not been realised yet. I do see it as a change in direction. I don't think we can deny that. I mean, even right down to the familiar, you've swapped out your black cat and you've now got a white dog. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like there is a big change coming for you. But again, it feels exciting. It doesn't feel negative. It feels like you need to come at it with with an open heart and with a sense of adventure. Let's see.
Yeah, it doesn't feel to me like a negative either, or a denial. It's almost more like you need a little more awareness. But I think it's really funny that you found the black cat turning into a white dog. I missed that bit. Thank you.
No, it's okay. Yeah, people are saying they're saddened about the Queen passing. Joe says, really weird times. I'm anti-monarchy, but I'm still really saddened. Let's see. Patrice says, yes, Robin, I think it's so appropriate that a queen shows up in the reading today. Her longevity may be showing up to highlight your own. May you have a long, healthy life following your creativity.
All right, I call myself old, but 70 isn't that old, Patrice.
I recently visited the home of Franklin Roosevelt, and it was mentioned that Queen Elizabeth had stayed there on a visit. It was weird that he had died long ago and she was still alive. Donna says, yeah, a complete change of direction, but not necessarily a bad thing. KS says, I think the Fool seems to be given a theatrical pause, like he's about to break into song. It does look like that, doesn't it? It looks like he's singing, like he's just got this stance. And the stance that, I don't often talk about Hebrew letters, but the Fool's making the first Hebrew letter Aleph, with his limbs.
Yeah, that stance is either like The Sound of Music or opera, one or the other, but it's like it's a very grand gesture. So maybe there's something in that grand gesture about.
Yeah. Gosh, even like there's so. Do you know? I'm pretty sure that. So I know that. I heard recently that in the Rider pack, Pixie used a lot of like I'm pretty sure that this had a male model. It was a male that modelled for the Queen of Wands, and I'm sure that in some of the cards it was females that modelled for the ones that present as males. So I know that she played with gender a lot when she was designing her deck. And you know, this, as much as she's a queen, it has a really masculine feel to me. Why did I start bringing that up? I don't really know. The thing that caught my eye was the fact that he's even holding a wand. I know it's not really a wand, but it's like there's just so much. So it's very similar. There's a lot of similarity. The sunflower, we've got the sun, the wand, the wand, the familiar, It's, I don't know. I like it.
I'm really enjoying this, Chris. I'm loving it because this is the thing I love most in doing things like this is sharing with other people what we see in the cards and what we've looked at a million times and never really has jumped out at us before in a different way. It's great.
Yeah. No, I agree. I enjoyed doing it as well. Thanks, Robin. Patrice says, Robin, love, I'm not calling you old. I'm right behind you, my friend. I'm just seeing longevity ahead of you. Plenty of time to create and live your passions.
It's all good
fun. Tony's here. Hi, Tony. Is your Fool suggesting you are reviewing an idea or a project or move from a part idea?
Well, we did talk, I don't know about that, but we did talk before about my silliness, and I have absolutely no problem with playing the fool for anybody or for our community. So that may play into this card as well.
Yeah. After Scorpio, we've got Sagittarius, which runs from the 23rd of November up until the 21st of December. And Sagittarius tends to talk about higher learning, things like spirituality, things like higher beliefs, the stuff that we don't have, we need to have faith in, the stuff that's not necessarily like you can see it and touch it, therefore it's there. It's the stuff that's a wee bit beyond that tends to be what Sag is talking about. So yeah, end of November up to the end of December. Oh, look who it is.
Oh,
it's the king. So right, okay. So there's obviously there's a theme here, isn't there? Because we had the very fiery card to start off with, and then we've got these two showing up. Now, what does that mean? Are you going to meet your match in the season of Sagittarius? Interesting. King of Wands for me actually talks. So this all feels very active so far, especially with that Queen of Wands and the Fool. There's lots of energy being expended, but sometimes the thing with what the King of Wands means for me is, you know, I know that you want to kind of get stuff done. You're a fire king. You're a passionate, creative, active type, and you don't want to be, sitting doing nothing. You want to be kind of in and amongst it. But sometimes it's your job to actually take that step back to sit on that throne. Sometimes that's necessary in order for you to oversee the kingdom. Now, with this being a card of new endeavors, of getting involved in new stuff, I feel like the king is almost asking you to just calm it down a wee bit. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
for example, in this kind of a time period of Scorpio, you might find yourself thinking, I'm going to create two more decks. Do you know what I mean? I love doing this, and we know that it's something that you're passionate about. You've talked a lot about, you enjoy doing it, but also I know that you get a lot from doing it. You think that it's something that would benefit everyone and they'll learn from it.
Right.
But sometimes you do need to take a step back and focus on what you've already got. Do you know what I mean? So focus on whatever it is you want to do, whether that's promoting your deck or just working with it and getting working with them, getting to know them and forming a relationship with them. But there's something here that feels like just, it's not telling you to stop moving forward. It's just almost like, remember, you still have to kind of keep an eye on what's going on right now.
Yeah. The first thing that popped into my head when I saw this card was the phrase King of Kings. And I think that's because you said it was November to December. And I believe Jesus is referred to as the King of Kings, which is, Christmas, King of Kings. But then so I wasn't sure what to make of that other than just a time slot as we're going around the dial here. But yeah, I do see, again, he's looking the same direction back. And I feel like I'm getting some blowback or some pushback from these two cards. And I agree with you. It feels like some sort of judgment or some sense of moving ahead too quickly or something. And the card that I pulled for this one was the Tower. So definitely something there is like a bit of a surprise or a bit of a jolt in terms of my moving forward too fast. I also forgot to mention, and you said about enjoying making decks and stuff. I went to see the closing weekend of the Kandinsky show at the Guggenheim last Sunday, and it really inspired me to the point that I'm already conceiving or conceptualizing another deck, which will be a full 78 card deck, fully illustrated by me, because the last two were just, basically found art on Canva that I put together. So this next one will be me creating everything by pen and brush, and is apt to take a lot longer, apt to be a lot slower, lengthier deck to create. And I can see that feeding into this card, like slow down. Well, yeah, I'm going to be forced to slow down creating this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the bigger picture. Yeah, cool. Let's see. Oh, hang on, sorry, I've missed out some comments. Donna, if the Queen of Wands is a witch, is the Fool Dorothy? I'll get you and your little dog too. I do not envy that fool, says Donna, being caught between the Queen and the King. It looks like they are each pulling him in a different direction, says Donna. Jonathan's here. Hi, Jonathan. Just got home from a beach walk, 2.5 miles. Good for you. I think I saw Ben. Yep, Ben's here as well. Ben and Jonathan are both wishing you a happy birthday. Okay.
I like what whoever it was just said about being stuck between the Queen and the King, because the Queen is kind of like looking at the Fool like, nah, you're not going back. You turn around and go ahead. And then right to his back is the King, kind of blocking the way, say, no, you're going that way. So I really like that relationship between the three of him sort of being, you know, monkey in the middle between these two powers, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Almost like, see if you take these three together, it's like a two, you know, he's like a two of wands, do you know what I mean? And he's just in between living his best life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, he's also got his arms reaching out to either one of them too.
I know. That salamander is significant of fire elements and magic. It's black too, like the queen has a black cat. Yeah. So we've got the black salamander down at the bottom of the king card here.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Also, it made me think when I just said about the arms being spread, it's like he's showing the queen with the staff and bag, yes, I'm following your instructions, I'm moving ahead. But then he's also holding out this white rose to the king as if to say, don't be so hard on me. I'm not sure. You know, here's a flower for you. Calm down. Smell the rose. It's like, I don't really want to go back, you know. Peace offering.
Yeah. Let's see. Emmy's off to drive home. See you later, Emmy. Okay. We'll move on to Capricorn, 22nd of December up until the 19th of January. So this is the turn of the new year. And we've got the Three of Pentacles. See how for the two earth signs, we've had earth cards so far. Isn't that quite cool? So yeah, lots of productivity in that time period. Definitely creating something. And I don't know if you've ever looked at the faces in this card, but none of them look like the guy who's the guy to the left here. He looks as though he's kind of giving them a dirty look. And these two, I'm not really sure what. And what is she holding? What on earth is she holding? I pulled this card this week, and I swear to goodness, I looked at it for ages, and I can't decide what it is that she's holding.
What, she, the woman, a person in dots, you mean?
Yep. What is that? Isn't
it plans? I thought it was like what are the blueprints or plans or something.
Maybe my hand's getting sore. I'll zoom in. Hang on. Yeah. Maybe. It seems to have this really kind of a odd point to it.
It looks like an architectural drawing to me. But I'd see what you mean, that corner of the paper or scroll.
Yeah. Maybe. Anyway, it's for me, it's a card about creating something. It's about potentially coming together with other people. So bear that in mind. Remember, you've got your fool who's in between his our king and our queen here. But yeah, it can be a card about coming together with other people and creating something new. And usually, crucially for me, is what we need to think about is it's something that we can't just do on our own. You know, it's the two or the different principles come together and giving way to something that can't be created by the one alone. So teamwork, and yeah, creating something new.
Chris, what which sign did you say that 3 is?
This is Capricorn.
The first thing I saw when I saw this was, for me, it referred back to the first card. It's like the first card's outside the church, and this card is inside the church. I'm not sure what to make of that.
Yeah.
There's something there I can't quite connect with those relationships. The first one is the relationship of the people being separated from those inside the church. And then this one, they're together inside the church, but separated by the ones doing the work versus the one telling the worker what to do. I'm not sure what to make of that. Capricorn again means what?
Capricorn is kind of like your career and your reputation. So it's your status, your reputation.
Okay.
So it can be it's an interesting one to link with other different positions. So your personality card, which is Aries, which is the one we usually start with, but in this case it'll be one of the when we'll be coming to it. It'll be kind of after halfway through. It links in with Aries, because your personality is kind of who you are inside, and then your status, your reputation is outwardly who you appear to be to the rest of the world. So
I'm going to say with the 3 here, focusing on plans, which would fall about right in terms of that drawing out the bigger project.
Yeah.
There's a sense of focus there for me. And I drew the moon card along with this one. So I don't know. That's a little bit of the unknown, a little bit of the dark side of things that maybe we hadn't taken into account yet. But I think there's a really strong connection for me with that 5 and that 3. Well, that makes 8. So strength. Maybe it takes strength to deal with moving forward with the plans or with the relationships involved in building something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Because this is a very kind of a cloisters feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you've obviously got the church window.
Outside, inside. It's an inside thing.
Yeah. Let's see. So we got the salamander. Collaboration, perhaps, says Donna. A baby, says KS. Blueprints is the traditional way of reading the papers, says Jonathan. A sketch of what the sculptor is supposed to produce, says Donna. Those papers we just wanted to talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Let's not get very far on 3 wheels. I think that car needs a 4th wheel.
You used to get 3-wheeled cars. Capricorns are known for working hard, says KS. Productive step back, double down, moving from 5 to 3. 3 is growth after fooling around with the king and the queen, says Danielle. There's a troll and their name is Tarot Destroyer. That just made me chuckle. Anyway. Moving on, we come on to, so what comes after Capricorn? We get Aquarius, don't we? And Aquarius runs from the 20th of January up until the 18th of February. And Aquarius deals with it's our friends, our social life and things like that. You've got the 8 of Wands. So this for me is there's momentum seems to have picked up. The cards so far feel quite creative. Lots of fire energy in this reading, like fire, earth, fire, air, fire, earth, fire. We're working hard in the 3, and like you said, you're kind of concentrating, you're focusing your energies, you're sticking to a plan. With the 8 of Wands, and I'm going to be really interested in what other people think about this, because different people read this card differently. for me, it's a very positive card. For me, I always see us as going in. We are riding that energy. We are going in the direction of those wands. Those wands represent our hard work and our creative endeavors, all progressing, all moving forward at quick pace. And quite a lot of the time, for what the eight is, for me personally, what it's saying is things are actually moving to a place that you never actually thought possible. So, you're kind of created something. It's good fun for you. But it's actually it seems to be taking you to a place that you never actually realised that it wasn't your original intention, and you never saw it going there. It feels really exciting and energetic, but it could also be energetic and wow, this is a lot for me, and I know lots of people see this in a different way. They see the wands as coming towards them. So, yeah, interested to know what you think about it, Robin. How do you see this card?
Well, along with the whole idea of the year in motion or in movement, I was a little bit uncertain as we're progressing along, and it seems like I was dragging my foot a little bit until we got to the 3 where I'm planning more, and now we're back on track and moving ahead. I don't have much to say about this particular card other than at this point in the year, it feels like it's about the point where we should feel like being re-energized and moving forward. And also this is in February, so we're heading towards the spring. I mean, we're still in winter, but we're moving ahead to changes in the spring, as well as it looks like whatever my plans happen to be.
Yeah. Let's see. Cheryl says, I wonder if that'll destroy me.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
So far, this feels right on track to me, and in a nice curve, around the year in terms of the way you want actions to happen and take place,
Yeah.
Obviously I don't want it to go great at the beginning and then all downhill for the rest, and we'll see what happens. But it feels like it's slowly picking up momentum from a good starting place to a more and more positive, firm position.
Yeah. It is interesting to see how the story progresses, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny, like, when you're kind of looking at it, I'm starting to wonder, is this queen an influence in your life? Do you know what I mean? Because here, where we seem to be starting off in, I mean, the tarot likes to be a drama queen. Do you know what I mean? It likes to really kind of exaggerate to make its point. So, you're maybe not quite finding yourself in the same position as these two, but we seem to be starting off on a more, what feels like a more negative place, and then we're moving towards this place where we're creating something. And I'm just wondering, like, obviously we've got the Fool here, which is right. I'm taking a chance. I'm taking a leap. I'm diving into something new. It makes me wonder whether the Queen is the influence that takes you from here to here. Is this either someone in your life, or is it something that's going to come into your life in the next month or so that's going to kind of really inspire you? It's going to kind of take you from kind of being in this place to being like, right, I'm filled with energy. I'm feeling very kind of inspired to take a jump off that cliff and see what happens. And then we have the King coming in with a very kind of orderly energy, and it's like, right, okay, you've been inspired, you've taken a chance, everything's fine and dandy, but let's start putting things in order. Let's start thinking about the bigger picture and the end game, and let's start planning things out. And of course, you said with this one, it's like following the plans. Okay, so whatever the influence is here with the King, I suppose this is kind of remembering to stick to that. And then we see all this growth, all this momentum and progression with the 8. So I think it's cool to look at how the story progresses.
Well, I just pulled this card and I thought, well, maybe I won't even show this because I don't know what this means or what to make of it. It's the Hierophant for the Eight of Wands. And I thought, well, you know, that would be about the time as I'm moving on ahead to learn something. You know, maybe there's a point in this new deck that I'm putting so much work into to learn something, perhaps get some guidance or something about the software or the art skills that I'm using. Something may benefit the deck at this point instead of just, you know, flying ahead blindly. But yeah, move forward, but you need to learn something too. And I noticed the keys in it looked to me like a pair of scissors. So it made me think almost like not to destroy my work, but maybe, you know, trim around some edges or refine the artwork or whatever as I'm moving forward. Consider, you know, what needs to be edited out and left in, you know, like a pair of scissors.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Robin, your card of this year is the Hierophant. So it is. Like when you take the 8th of September and then add it to the year 2022, you get 23, which boils down to 5, the Hierophant. So it's just interesting that you're talking about, you know, for me, the Hierophant is a teacher. That's the key word that I think of when I see Hierophant. And we've got two very kind of teachery influences coming in just at the tail end of last year for you. So maybe the Hierophant coming up for this position is prompting you to think about the lessons that you've learned through your Hierophant year. And this brings me on to our next card, which is Pisces.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not sure if the learning is an external thing like me learning, or it could be the other way, me teaching. There's a potential here that in my learning process or my presenting this new deck or whatever my approach is to the deck, that possibly I'm teaching other people something about tarot. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which side of this card I'm approaching it from. Like you said with the wands, you know, are you throwing them or are they being thrown at you? Sometimes it's hard to gauge in a reading
what side of it you are. I think the next card actually makes me think that you're in the learning position.
Okay.
Because the next card in the place of Pisces, which is end of February to the end of March, 19th of February to the 20th of March, we've got the Page of Pentacles. Okay. So we've got a page card coming in, who for me is a student, and this is, it's very kind of a tangible. This, what this makes me think of is, so we were talking about, you know, how you've got the Hierophant in place here. The Hierophant is a teacher card. It's a card of learning. For me, looking at, you know, the tail end of 2022, I feel as though there's a lot of influence around about you. There's a lot that you're kind of a lot of knowledge that you're soaking up from it. And then we see that kind of that influence, you know, it's you're putting into practice those learnings almost. I feel as though you're learning new things. It might, if you are going to be looking at, you know, you were talking about creating this new deck, maybe you're almost going to be looking at different techniques and stuff here with the Page of Pentacles. But lots of kind of hard work and enjoying the hard work. That's the thing about the page, is they enjoy the graft. They enjoy getting their hands dirty. They get a lot out of it. And the page is always thinking, you know, this might be hard worked for little coin just now, but you know, they can look forward and say, right, okay, but in a couple of years' time or whatever it is, you know, for the situation, you know, I'm really going to benefit from this. And for that reason, a lot of the time I see the Page of Pentacles as being like the very dedicated student. Do you know what I mean? So like it's almost like the teacher's pets in school, or the students that work really, really hard to get to where they want to be. That's kind of what I see with this page. So yeah, I think we're kind of seeing that coming in for you around about February, March. What's your thoughts on the page? Oh, he's very focused on his pentacle as well. Sorry, that's something else.
Yeah.
Very, very kind of that pentacle is it's almost like it's his whole life, you know. Look at the way that he's almost gazing lovingly at it.
Yeah. I see two things. I see someone bringing a gift, but I also see this idea of investment. You know, like in for a penny, in for a pound. You know, the idea that I'm investing my time and effort into this project long term. And I also got, and I drew for this one, the star card, which above is a sort of illuminating inspiration. And then also this person is holding a cup and emptying something out. So there again is sort of a gift in a way. It's like a gift of inspiration from above, and perhaps a gift to others with whatever I happen to be working on. I don't know.
Yeah, star.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what other people think. Yes, you teaching is what I was thinking, says Donna, because of the way that the soul card reads to me. Then says, yeah, more of a student vibe there. Or vibe, more of a student vibe there. KS says, taking the lesson and creating something tangible. Potentially, yeah. Okay. So we're just over halfway through, so I'm going to keep trudging on, but if people have got thoughts on cards that have already been, then please feel free to share them. Next up, we've got Aries, which is the start of the astrological year. Aries is all about, like I'd said, it's you, it's your personality, it's your kind of a deepest self, and it's who you are inside. And we've got the Hermit card. So we have. So I mean, right away, I'm thinking a guide. Do you know what I mean? Very kind of a comfortable in your own company. A deep thinker. But also you're showing the way for other people. We talked about when we were over here. We talked about how you like to dance to the beat of your own drum. Do you know what I mean? You're very much your own person, and I see that a lot in the Hermit card. Do you know what I mean? It's about not giving two fucks about what anyone else thinks about you, to a degree. And people often look at people often look at kind of a hermit type people as like, for me, in one of two ways. Either, wow, that person is really kind of I'm impressed that person has got the balls to do that. Do you know what I mean? I'm impressed that they don't care what anyone else thinks. They're just doing what they want and they don't care. Or it's like, oh gosh, gosh, I would be caught dead doing that. People tend to have different reactions to hermit type figures. But the guide, you talked about the star, you pulled the star card. We've got the Fool looking up towards the star, and then we've got the Hermit who has the star and his lantern, and he's using it to light the way, guide the way for other people. And also, I've posted about this somewhere, but to me, the Hermit and the Fool are very much kind of a, they're cards that are interesting to look at together because they're both on mountaintop. For me, the Fool feels like someone at the start of their journey. The Hermit almost feels as though they've come to the end of a journey, and we see that in the age of the figures, but we also see it in the weather. So this is this looks like a snowy mountain to me. Maybe it's the same mountain, and maybe it's the same person. But the fact is, the Hermit is using his wisdom. He's using the stuff that he's learned ever since he took that first leap off of that mountain, and he's almost using that as a beacon to guide other people. That was a lot of random stream of consciousness that I threw at you there. What are your thoughts on getting the Hermit card?
Well, it's funny because my significator card is a minor. If it were a major, it would be a combo of 3 cards. It would be the Fool, the Hermit, and the Magician. I relate to all 3 of those in different aspects. When you paired the Fool and the Hermit, I immediately thought of extrovert and introvert, which is an interesting notion, I think. But also the position in the wheel here, it feels to me like a place or position of reassessment. So it's like, okay, as we're going along with this project and I'm doing this, I've made progress. I'm almost ready to give this gift. And then I'm not sure, maybe I need to reassess at this stage. And I pulled the World card, which seems almost, again, like an extrovert versus the introvert. Related to the reassessment, though, is kind of like, okay, before I spring this deck or this big project on the world, I need to be not too overly anxious to do it. I need to pause a moment to make sure that I've got all my ducks in a row and this is exactly what I want. I need to reassess my position.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see what everyone else thinks.
Other thing I was gonna say is I really am noticing direction in this spread more than I generally do. I don't know if that's because the spread in particular, I feel like it's a circle going around, and so it's moving forward. And that way, when I see it going facing left, it feels counter to that. Well, the way we're moving around is actually, is it Widdershins? It's counterclockwise, but somehow the other direction is almost going against the grain. I'm just more aware of the directions in these cards than I usually am in spreads.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean. So what do you make of the direction with the Hermit?
Well, it makes me want to pair it with the Fool and the King of Wands in terms of these, again, are not stops completely, but sort of mild pauses as the wheel turns. So it's like, and it gives me some comfort in a way, because I think if this was nothing but forward direction or nothing but backward direction movement, I think I would, really question the nature of it. But the fact that we've got some forward and some backward, it feels right. It feels like the way things are meant to be in a progression,
Yeah. I'll be interested now at the end of the spread. This might just be my weird maths brain, but if we combine all the directions, it'll be interesting to know how many steps forward or back, or if we've stayed in the same place. If we count this as a step forward, this is a step forward, this is a step, back, etc., etc. I'm now curious. So anyway,
you know what? Though also we've now reached this point in the wheel where we're arcing over the other direction. So if we follow the bottom train, if it was in one long line, the Hermit would be going backwards now. But actually, he's now moving forward as he's taking the arc over the wheel.
Yeah. KS says taking the lesson and creating something tangible. Donna says the page is holding the coin in a similar way to that soul card is holding the flame. Yeah. Donna says the Hermit appears to be looking back and contemplating the year so far. We said the Hermit was Aries, didn't we? So that's from the 21st of March up to the 20th of April, by the way, in case you're interested. And in your world card, the figure is hatching from the cosmic egg. Oh, your world card. So a birth or rebirth.
I forgot. my world card with the page or the hermit? I think it was the page. What wasn't it?
I think so. This was the Hierophant.
Yeah.
And no, the star was the page. The star was the page because they're both looking up to the star.
Oh, you're right.
So the Hermit must have been the world.
World. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's introvert, extrovert. Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting because the world card for me is basically a kind of a everything's going great and you're right where you're meant to be
Hmm.
quite often. Next up, so from Aries, we move on to Taurus, which is our possessions. It's the things that we put value in our life. Oh, we've got the Empress card. So we have. I'm going to hold that up closer actually. Now I know that the Empress, you've pulled the Empress already when we got the Fool, didn't you?
Yeah.
So we've got the Empress card in terms of the things that you hold most dear, the things that you value. So, I mean, in a certain sense, for me, the Empress is quite a lot about creativity, creation, the things that we create, the things that we've birthed ourselves from our own creative minds. So there's a lot of kind of a value being placed around that. Also, I mean, it feels a bit early to be talking, right, okay, so you're starting to create something here. Sometimes the Empress can be saying, right, you know, this is where we actually see it come into physicality, coming into existence. So I don't know, maybe you're going to kind of see you're going to actually physically create something in this time period. But yeah, what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm now following that train of thought about how the whole directional movement has been reversed because she's got, since we're now going the other direction over the arc, even though she normally would be facing forward more or less, she's kind of facing, wait, what am I going? She's moving backwards in a way, but she's looking at us straight on, almost over her shoulder in a way. So it's sort of like, and I like what you said about things we hold dear, because that connects to the card that I drew, which is the Devil. So I think maybe she's a cautionary card, like, you know, about holding the project too dear or being too fussy or too particular or too dragging my feet about moving forward or something. I also wanted to note that the Devil has horns, as does Taurus, the bull. So I thought that was sort of intriguing. I don't know.
That actually makes me think of, funnily enough, food. See, when you put the Empress in place with the Devil, I think food. I know that's a weird thing to think, but that's just what it makes me think of. So yeah, I don't know.
What?
Are you going to go out for I think of food, I'm saying.
Food. Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you combine the Empress with the Devil, I think of food. I think of like good food, really enjoying food. Maybe you're going to go out for it. Somebody's going to take you out for a lovely meal. Maybe to your restaurant with the swings.
Okay.
Okay. So
she also exhibits for me this sense of real comfort. I mean, she's in the cushiest chair in the whole deck. You know, she's got her pillows. She's really in a comfort position. And I think when I drew the Devil, oh, that's kind of anything but comfort. So there's maybe a question.
Sometimes it's too much comfort.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the Devil.
It makes me think, how secure are you in your position of comfort? But that's the way I go.
I think the Devil for me talks a lot about desires. It's the things that we desire. And a lot of the times, the things that we desire, the things that we're drawn towards, aren't necessarily the things that are good for us. Hence the, you know, how the devil can talk about becoming a slave to ourselves and potentially to other people. But yeah, sometimes the devil for me can talk about being too comfortable or having too much fun. And sometimes the message is we need to kind of agitate that a bit, which seems really easy when you talk about it. And when we look at the, you know, the traditional image of the devil, you know, it seems really easy to talk about just, oh, you know, just lift off those chains and walk away and you'll be fine and dandy. But really, it's a lot more difficult than that.
It also, I always think of the keyword temptation, which in my word deck, the devil is temptation. Temptation with the Empress card makes me think, you know, what has she been tempted by? Well, maybe she was tempted into having sex to become pregnant. I don't know, but she's seems very tempted to just kind of lounge or recline there, maybe not move forward, or maybe if it's in relation to this new deck being created, well, you know, I'm okay with this. I'm comfortable with this. Maybe I shouldn't drive myself any harder. Maybe this is good enough. You know, I'm not sure if I might be tempted to stop here and not continue working on it or not continue refining or perfecting it, you know. I'm just throwing out some random thoughts there.
That's okay. That's good. Okay. So that was Taurus, wasn't it? Which means next we'll get Gemini. And Gemini runs from the 21st of May up to the 20th of June. And the card that we've got is the Knight of Pentacles. 2 fire courts, 2 earth courts. The Empress and the Hermit both feel very earthy. This is a very earth and fire dominated reading. In fact, I think all of the cards really have been earth or fire, haven't they? So in terms of the Knight of Pentacles, it's like slow and steady wins the race, or, you know, like the tortoise versus the hare. For me, is what that talks about. There's lots of kind of a lot of your cards are looking about getting perspective, or seem to be about looking forward right from the get-go. The Soul card, he's looking on. He's holding his thing in his hand, but he's looking on to see what's to come. The Queen's doing that. The King, both in what we see him doing and in terms of what the Kings are all about. They're all about gaining perspective and thinking about the bigger picture and keeping the kingdom in order. You know, stopping to look at the plans, perspective. This guy's in a wee world of his own, do you know what I mean? He's looking at his pentacle and not really anything else. Again, the Hermit, perspective, but I suppose from a different direction. He's not so much looking forward. He's looking back at everything that's happened so far and thinking, right, how does this apply to me right now? And then we're landing on this Knight of Pentacles, who again has actually stopped his horse in order to see the way forward. You know, he would rather kind of plan things out carefully and take things slowly, and make sure that he's doing it right, rather than rush in all guns a-blazing and risk making a mistake. Sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that can be the message. It can be, let's just calm things right down. Let's just make sure that we're taking it one step at a time. Sometimes, though, this can be a wee bit of a shadow card, and it can be saying, you know, you can't plan for every possible thing that's going to happen. You know, sometimes we just need to be a bit like the fool and throw caution to the wind. So, yeah, I'm interested. It's interesting to see that card come up. What are your thoughts?
Well, the first thing I noticed was the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles combo, because the Page of Pentacles is moving forward very slightly. And now, you know, since we're going in the other direction, the Knight sort of feels like, well, I've changed my position. Yeah, I've reconsidered things. Now I'm back to moving forward again. but not very fast, not much faster than the page. My horse is just kind of creeping along. So we're still kind of back on track about forward movement, but it's at a very a more considered, slower pace. There's no hurry to get to the end. You know, it's like, and I pulled the Fool, which seems like that too. That first step is sort of like a tentative step. And, you know, here they're both facing the same direction. So again, we're moving again after some pause for, you know, food or relaxation or reconsidering, you know, what we've gotten ourselves into. But now it just seems like it's a little bit slow on the movement part, but we've only got a few cards to complete our journey. So we'll see what happens.
Circle, it'll be interesting to see what happens. What I'm also noticing is, see if we look at the Pentacles and or stars in the spread, Robin. So we started off with 5 kind of a fully formed Pentacles, then we come to the 3 of Pentacles, and we've got 3 Pentacles, but do you see how they've got no inside? They're not fully formed.
Right.
So it's almost like, you know, somewhere along the way, it's almost like something's imploring you to take a step back, strip it back, look at the basics again, take it back to the basics, and, you know, rethink how you're doing this. We then see our page who's like, right, you know, I'll take it back to the basics. You know, I'm looking at, you know, just the bare shapes within the pentacle, and then he's working hard on that one pentacle, and, you know, he gets it to be a fully fledged pentacle, a fully formed pentacle. So we've got this fully formed pentacle again, and you can see how proud he is to kind of have that and hold that. We then move to the Hermit, and the Hermit's, you know, he's using that to light the way forward for other people. All of a sudden, that pentacle has become a beacon. It's become a light, a star. The Empress wears the 12 stars on her as her crown, which is traditionally, I think, thought of as meaning the zodiac. But, you know, if we keep in the theme of stars and pentacles, we're wearing them on our crown. And, you know, we're back to having one pentacle in the night, but look at the progression. Look at where we've progressed personally. We've taken ourselves from being the page, the learner, the initiate, the student, to the knights, to actually getting stuff done, albeit he's the slowest knight of the 4 knights, but he's still very much about action, about working hard, and about getting things done. So there's definitely a really nice kind of a progression that I see, you know, in different ways. And the pentacle thing just hit me there when I was looking at these 3 in particular. But yeah, Knight of Pentacles. Let me check in with what the people in the chat are saying. So Donna says a weekend in the country. KS says Tyrians love life's luxuries and to eat. I'm Taurus moon and rising. I've got my rising sign, my ascendant is Taurus. Linked to the devil, enjoying creature. 3 slow contemplative energies in a row, says Donna. Patrice is having to go. Bye, Patrice. KS says Knight of Pentacles, testing the energy before rushing in, perhaps reminding us to be patient and methodical. So where did we say we were? We said that we were in Gemini, didn't we? Which is May, June kind of a time. So, yeah. And then Donna's saying bye to Patrice. Okay, have you got any more thoughts on the Knight of Pentacles?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. Okay, we've got a couple more cards left. We now come into Cancer, which runs from the 21st of June up to the 21st of July. And then we're ending on Leo. Oh, and we've got the Emperor. Another fiery energy coming in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, if we kind of follow the curve of creativity that's happening, the Emperor again is like this King of Wands energy coming in. It's this very kind of a right. Let's remember we need to kind of keep a certain order to things. For me, the Emperor is taking all of the stuff that's been created. Oh, look, Empress and Emperor up at the top. So we had the King and the Queen being separated by the Fool, and then we've got the Empress and the Emperor being separated by the Knight of Pentacles. Interesting. But yeah, all of the lovely stuff that the Empress is creating, that she's birthing, that she's bringing into existence, the Emperor is almost giving it purpose, bringing it in, giving it order, defining it, ordering it, and it's very much about, for me, it's control, both in the positive ways and the negative ways. What are your thoughts on the Emperor?
Well, the first keyword that popped into my head when I saw him was stubborn. And I pulled for this one the Strength card, which my keyword in my new deck for strength is perseverance, which seems to me, in terms of this deck thing, that at this point in the circle, stubborn, strength, perseverance, yeah, almost there. It's like no turning back now. It's take a firm position.
Yeah. He's a very strong character. It's interesting, stubbornness and perseverance. Sometimes stubbornness can be the negative side of perseverance, can't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And finally, we land on Leo. And Leo runs from the 22nd of July up to the 22nd of August. Oh, look, another fire card. Imagine that.
Huh.
So we've got some energy coming into the situation here with the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands for me is, he's got so much energy and he's got so much that he wants to do. It's kind of a nice that he's got the Emperor by his side, because the Emperor can kind of help him to rein in some of that energy when it gets a wee bit too much for him. Because sometimes the problem, and we kind of see it in the horse is up on two legs, and a horse can't go anywhere when it's on two legs. It's using a lot of energy and it's probably getting itself really worked up, but it's not actually getting anywhere. And quite often this can be the drawback of the Knight of Wands. It's that it's that kind of a very excitable energy, but he needs to have that kind of a influence around him that keeps him on track. So I feel good that he's got the Emperor by his side, but equally I feel good that the Emperor has got this kind of a energy by his side. He's also got two knights beside him. Look at that. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I like that the year ends with this kind of energy leading into the next year, which hopefully the momentum will keep going. For this one, I pulled the Temperance card, which for me almost reads more like, okay, you've gone the whole year doing this stuff, analyzing the good and the bad, putting all your efforts into making this cocktail, and now it's time to enjoy the cocktail. You can have a drink and enjoy the blending of all the things you've been through in all year to get where you are. So I think that's really good. It has me wondering, though, if we can make a connection of a ring, or if the ring can connect to the center point again. Like, what is there a connection between that Knight of Wands and the Five of Pentacles? And is there some relation between all of these cards then and the Soul card in the center?
So I think the Soul card has been a really, if you're asking me, if you want my opinion,
Yeah.
I think actually not really. These are two very different energies, both in terms of where the people appear to be in their lives, and in terms of the actual energy, the vibrancy, the what's been done in the card. Even when you look at the directions that they're going in, they're kind of at heads with each other. But all that says to me is that where you're going to be in a year's time is really quite different from where you are right now. Now, when we've been kind of talking about this spread going through it, we've focused a lot on your creative endeavors, on you as a creative individual. So what that maybe says to me is that in a year's time, where you're going to be creatively is really quite different from where you find yourself right now. There's, when we look through there's lots of lots of court cards in this spread, and not just court cards. There's cards like the Hermit, the Empress, the Emperor. There's lots of people. So lots of influence and energies that are coming in. They're teaching you, and yeah, there's lots of a knowledge and stuff to be soaked up. That's going to take you from from being from here to here.
Yeah.
And I think that the Soul card has actually been a really good summary of it altogether. Because I mean, how many fire cards did we get all in? There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 out of 12 cards have been fire. When we think that there's 4 suits, like that's a massive proportion of your spread. 6 if you count the Soul card itself. And then how many Earth? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Earth cards. So there's lots of fire and earth. There's lots of a creative energy, but also the creative energy has been channeled into something physical, something tangible. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, it feels good for a creative person like you, for someone who, I know that you're really into music. I know that you're obviously creative in terms of, the decks that you create. But I get the sense that just generally the type of person that you are is that when you come up against something new, you tend to approach it in a creative way, whether that's the way that you're thinking about it, or whether that's how you get yourself into it. But you are a very, very creative person, and this for me really resonates with that.
Yeah, there's 2 points I want to make, and I think you're right. The Virgo in me wants to connect this ring. We go through cycles, and it's a year-long cycle, and somehow I want to make it connect at the end so that it just keeps going around. But I'm thinking about it on a 2-dimensional level. I have to reconceptualize the ring. Like you said, it's in a different place. It's a different dimension. It's not like a ring. It's more like a coil or a slinky. Like when you
like steps.
Yeah, when you get to the last part, it's not going to be on the same plane or the same dimension as card number 1 because they're a year apart. So it's going to be a spiral going on somewhere else. So that makes sense to me now, even though somehow my orderly mind wanted to see a perfect circle. The other question I wanted to make, though, and this may be too much for you, but we started off with this whole idea of this relating to cards, and I think you were the one that brought that up. And then we kind of ran with this idea of card creation, card production. In my mind, I was thinking a little bit more about what's going to chariot year, what's going to pull or drag me where and how and when. I had mentioned this in previous videos about the idea of potentially moving. I'm on a waiting list, for this other apartment, and wondered, if it's going to happen within this next year. Now, I don't know if there's any way for you to do a very fast or quick kind of reboot of this reading to just by looking at the cards around the circle and apply it rather than to the card creation thing, to the idea of where I'm living and where I'm going to be living a year from now, or how this might play into the idea of apartment availability or moving. It may be too much for you, or maybe just glancing at the cards, it reads quickly and easily right away to give me some insight on that.
So, okay. I think if I was going to answer a particular question like that, ideally I would want to kind of pull some cards for that question. But what we can do is we can look at your year ahead and see where there are shifts. Do you know what I mean? Where are there shifts that might look like you moving to a different place? And I can see a couple, to be honest with you. I can see it in the Fool. All right.
Okay.
And I can also see it in the Knight of Wands, because one of the traditional meanings for the Knight of Wands is moving house. It's changing your location.
Okay.
And there is lots of active energy in the reading in general. But yeah, but if I'm just glancing at it and looking at where I see the shifts happening, I would say the Fool and I would say the Knight of Wands. So what do we say that was? The Fool was next May. No, it wasn't. I beg your pardon. I'm talking rubbish. Ignore me. The Fool was Scorpio, wasn't it?
Yes.
So the Fool was the 23rd of October up to the 27th of November.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finished up on Leo, which was the 22nd of July next year up to the 22nd of August. So
Okay.
they are just glancing and using this year ahead reading to kind of look at where there are potential shifts that might indicate something like that is happening. I would say there and there.
Okay.
Maybe to some sort of degrees round about these two cards, because if you look, you've got the Hermit who's looking back. To me, I felt very like this when I was moving out of my old flat and we were moving in here. Like the last thing I did before I stepped out that door, the very last time, was I took a picture. It was an empty flat, like everything had been emptied out of it. I took a picture of the spot where Sandy proposed to me. Do you know what I mean? So that's looking back, it's contemplating, it's looking back at where you've come so far. And then all of a sudden we have this new energy in the Empress. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of maybe see it around about here as well. But here and here would be my guess. If it was going to happen, that's where the kind of shifts are. So those are maybe good times for you to look at kind of bringing about this change.
I
And
was
also
just
be looking at this time period as well.
okay. I was just wondering if we hadn't framed this whole thing over the course of the year having to do with deck creation, but had instead framed it with a question about my moving status over the next year. How we got the same cards. How would they be interpreted or shift in the reading? But
Yeah.
I think you just basically told me that. I want to know, I'm curious, do you feel like the whole reading or the whole circle can still be or could be summed up in the soul card in the center? I mean, in one card, we don't necessarily have the movement we do over the year, but are there elements in that card that you could see as movement or the direction that the year took?
I'm not understanding the question, Robin. I'm sorry. Are we talking in terms of moving home? Are we talking just generally in terms of the reading?
Generally, in terms of the reading, we've got 12 cards versus one card. Mathematically, basically, does one equal one, or is it a different story or a different picture? I almost feel like those 12 cards could condense down into or coalesce into that card, almost as if it was custom made. But I'm not sure if we get the progression over the course of the year in the one card. Maybe the element of smoke that you indicated. I'm not sure.
You see the bulb? Think of the potential that even if we look at it as flames, as fire, there's this to me is a card about potential. He's holding potential in his hands. That bulb is going to grow into something, or that fire is going to it's going to kind of that creative energy is going to give way to something. So I think we absolutely can see it's like it's like almost like, you know, the way that like the major arcana is like the kind of underlying the major stuff. And then the minor talks about the different day-to-day things that happen. This almost feels like the kind of the major thing. Do you know what I mean? This is the personality, and these are the kind of the different things that are happening throughout the year. But this is the kind of this is the underlying. This is the summary. This is the bottom line, or indeed the header. I do think that this is really good for that. One thing we talked about we were going to do, and I've not done it yet, is to add them up and see what we get to.
Let's do that. I just did want to say that this reading gave me great comfort, because I have always, and I feel like I will eternally feel like the Three of Wands. And some people might say, oh, how boring, you're stuck in one place. But for me, I always feel like the Three of Wands is a place for potential growth and something always about to happen that's in a direction moving forward. And for me, I feel like that's what life is all about, or should be. And so I am very pleased with this reading and the way all these work together and reinforce that center card, which to me basically is the Three of Wands.
I'm going to double check my
math
here.
Doing his calculations, folks.
I'm using a calculator. I'm cheating, Robin. Right. 13, 3, 8, 11, 9, 3, 12, 4, 12. Yep, we get 94. 9 and 4 is 13, which is the death card. So something coming to an end, some like transformation, change, the beginning of something new.
Well, I see
that's your overall number.
I see that then as, I mean, if the death card is coming to an end and the idea is non-movement, then the death would be the end of non-movement.
You let me just catch through the comments.
Oh,
sorry.
I was wondering whether you by any chance wanted to add up the numbers on the cards I pulled, just out of curiosity to see if they...
Okay, I'll do that in a wee second. What I'll do, I'll go through the comments first. We've only got a few, and then we can add up yours, and then we can bring this to a close. That sound okay?
Yeah.
So Liz says, hi guys, very sad day today. Good to see you here. Hi Liz, by the way, it's lovely to see you. KS, 4 major arcana, and the last major is the Emperor, number 4, building solid foundations as a theme. The Fool trumps all the majors, no, says Liz. That's true in the game of tarot. Perhaps progressing from a place of feeling on the outside looking in to a place as part of a creative group of learners and teachers, says Donna. The Soul card figure physically resembles the Emperor. It must be the beard. KS says, I feel like the Emperor is being king of your castle, and the Knight of Wands is you moving into your new place. Number 4, the Emperor, makes me think of home and stability. And then Donna says, I would see moving house taking place in spring/summer. And Donna's agreeing with KS. Okay, right.
It's interesting she said about how the Soul card and the Emperor and even the Hermit all have beards, so they all resemble me. That's kind of an interesting trio there.
Yeah.
In terms of what they're doing and what's taking place. And I can see all of them in some position of standstill and consideration of next move.
Yeah.
You want the cards for the numbers?
Yeah. Check them out.
High Priestess, or you want me to figure the numbers and just tell you the numbers?
Just tell me the names of the cards and I'll add the numbers.
Okay, High Priestess, then Chariot, Empress,
Yep.
Tower, Moon,
Yeah.
Hierophant,
Yep.
Star.
Did you not already say? Oh no, you said the moon. Sorry. Right, Star.
World, Devil,
Yep.
Fool,
Yep.
Strength.
We calling that 8 or 11?
I don't
8,
know.
I think, in your deck, isn't it?
And Temperance.
126.
Did you use it as 8
Nice.
or 11?
8.
126 is what is that? 1? Wait a minute.
9.
9.
126. 1 plus 2 plus
Oh,
6.
right. 3 plus 9. Hermit. Okay. And what did you get from your ad? Your previous?
We got 13.
Oh, Death. It was Death. Death.
Yep.
And the Hermit. Okay. Interesting.
That is interesting. So yeah, that really. And you didn't pull the Hermit, did you? The Hermit was the Hermit in there?
No, I don't think so. Death and the Hermit. So that's a change for the Hermit. So yeah, we'll see how things transform for me over the next year. Well, this has been a real treat, Chris. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this. And also,
thank you for coming on, Robin.
I apologize for my pulling a whammy out with, drawing my cards. We talked about doing that and thought it would be too much, but I think it worked anyway. We were doing fine for time, so that was my only concern. Is I'm conscious how long it normally takes us to talk about 10 or 11 or 12 cards. Yeah.
I was worried that if we were to make that 25, it might take a bit too long, but we seem to have done well with it. So it's worked well, so thank you for bringing it in.
My cards are pretty simple, but also I just wanted to I think I said something about using them as a shadow aspect for cards, but I think they were more of a reframing or a kind of a clarity card or something on the original spread. Like each one had an underlying additional character or spin on it.
Yeah, it was really good. It was worth it. Cool. Well, again, Robin, thank you. I always really appreciate when someone's willing to come on and do this, because I know it's not an easy thing to get a tarot reading in general. Do you know what I mean? To kind of just bare your soul to someone, but to come on and do it in this kind of a setting, it takes a lot, and I really appreciate you doing this.
Well, I'm hoping that the people in the chat got something out of it, because I think actually, in addition to what the spread gives you and what your interpretation of the cards was, and how we each have different viewings of the cards, I think the new combining in pairs around the dial added some additional element to consider. People pair decks all the time. And anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. And learned stuff too.
I'm glad. I want to say thanks to everyone in the chat as well. This has been a really great reading. I've really enjoyed it. I'm hoping that Robin has enjoyed it and got a lot out of everyone's contributions as well. And it gives it a wee something special when it's everyone coming together and looking at it together. So thank you very much, guys.
And
Very
what a
much
great
appreciate
birthday
you tuning
party.
in.
What a great birthday party. Thank you for
I know.
being.
I should have had a pointy hat on. I should have had a party hat on.
Oh.
I've missed a trick. There we go. There we go. Right, everyone. We will love you and leave you. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Robin, again. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing weekend, and we will catch you all later. Bye-bye.